Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures, where today we uncover the incredible story of a coin that many people might overlook in their everyday change, yet it carries with it such a mind-blowing value that collectors and treasure hunters alike cannot stop talking about: the 1997 5-cent piece. A coin that on the surface seems like just another nickel minted by the Denver Mint in 1997, but upon closer inspection becomes a treasure of unimaginable proportions, with a value estimated around an astonishing $40 million due to its highly unusual and rare errors and mistakes that transform it from an ordinary coin worth 5 cents into one of the most valuable nickels ever known. And in this script we will unravel every detail, every possibility, and every explanation as to why this piece is worth such big money, starting from the background of coin production and how errors occur, leading into the types of mistakes that specifically happened with this coin, and finally exploring the reasons why collectors drive the value so high. So buckle up, because we are going to explore a story that blends history, minting technology, human error, rarity, and the insatiable demand of collectors into one single narrative that makes the 1997 5-cent coin an unbelievable piece of treasure hidden in plain sight. And what makes this truly fascinating is that the Denver Mint in 1997 produced millions upon millions of nickels, yet only a handful, if not just one, escaped with such bizarre flaws that transform it into something irreplaceable. Because in the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything, and a one-of-a-kind error can elevate the status of a coin to legendary heights. And when we examine how these errors happened, we begin with the possibility of a double dice strike, where the design on the obverse or reverse appears to have been struck twice slightly off alignment, creating a doubled image of Jefferson's face or the Monticello building on the reverse. And such doubling, if dramatic enough, is considered one of the holy grails for error collectors, since it immediately separates the coin from millions of ordinary strikes. But beyond doubling, there could also be the extraordinary possibility of a wrong planchet error, where instead of striking the design onto a nickel planchet, the coin was mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, such as a dime or even a foreign coin blank. And these errors are incredibly valuable because they combine rarity with a striking visual anomaly, where the coin might be underweight or have a different metal composition than expected, making it obvious to specialists that something went seriously wrong in the minting process. And in the case of this 1997 nickel, the speculation is that it carries not just one but multiple overlapping errors, perhaps starting with a misaligned die where the design is off center, leaving part of the blank exposed, and then followed by a striking on the wrong planchet, which already changes the weight and feel of the coin. And when such combinations occur, the coin stops being just rare and becomes truly unique, the kind of item that can drive auctions into frenzied bidding wars, where wealthy collectors and investors throw millions just to secure ownership of such a piece. And what further pushes the value sky high is the historical context, because coins from the 1990s are not typically known for commanding such astronomical prices, which means that the existence of a multi-million-dollar piece from 1997 creates a buzz in the collecting world unlike anything else, shocking even veteran numismatists who are used to seeing high values attached to centuries-old coins but rarely to modern pieces like this. And when experts authenticate the coin, they look for diagnostic markers like die cracks, off-metal composition, doubled lettering, rotated dies, and other anomalies that all contribute to confirming that the coin is not a counterfeit but a genuine mint error. And each of these markers adds to its mystique and credibility, making collectors more confident to invest enormous sums. And while the average person might glance at a nickel and toss it into a jar without thinking twice, those with the trained eye understand that spotting one with unusual features could change their life forever. And this is exactly what makes stories like the 1997 5-cent piece so captivating, because it highlights the possibility that fortune could literally be sitting unnoticed in someone's pocket or drawer, waiting to be discovered. And the psychology behind such discoveries is another reason why value climbs so high, as collectors are not just buying metal but buying the story, the thrill, the exclusivity of owning something no one else on earth has. And when wealthy buyers compete for these rarities, the price can skyrocket to unimaginable heights, which explains how a small 5-cent coin can reach a price tag of $40 million, a figure so unbelievable yet grounded in the reality of supply and demand in the high-end collectibles market. And as we continue to think about what specific mistakes could account for such immense value, we also explore the possibility of a mule error, where the obverse die of the nickel was accidentally paired with the reverse die of another denomination such as a dime or quarter. And mule errors are considered among the most dramatic and valuable of all mint errors, because they should never exist under normal circumstances, and often only a handful are known, sometimes even a single example. and if the 1997 D nickel turned out to be a mule, it would instantly catapult into the ranks of the rarest coins in American history. And adding to that could be planchet imperfections like improper alloy mix where the metals did not blend correctly, leading to streaks, unusual coloring, or weight differences, all of which create unique diagnostics. And when we layer all these possibilities together, the picture emerges of a coin so unusual, so singular, that it transcends being just a coin and becomes an artifact of minting history, a once-in-a-lifetime accident that slipped past quality control and into circulation. And it is precisely this type of once-in-a-lifetime accident that sparks collectors to empty their pockets to secure it, and the stories told about this coin become legends, passed among numismatists, fueling even more fascination. And as demand grows, the value escalates, because scarcity and demand always drive price, and when scarcity reaches the level of only one known example, the sky becomes the limit, and it is no wonder that the 1997 D 5-cent error coin has reached the staggering valuation of $40 million, making it one of the most unbelievable stories in modern numismatics. And the key takeaway for everyone watching is that the world of coins hides treasures where you least expect them, so always check your change carefully, because you never know when you might stumble upon a piece that changes your life forever. And that concludes the incredible story of the 1997 D 5-cent worth big money, thanks to its astonishing errors and mistakes that elevate it into numismatic legend. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of hidden treasures, don't forget to like this video, share it with friends who love hearing about unbelievable discoveries, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories of rare coins that could be hiding in your pocket right now. Next, 2003 a P5-cent coin, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins, because when it comes to numismatics there are few things more exciting than discovering that a simple piece of change rattling around in your pocket or tucked away in a jar might be worth millions. And in today's exploration we will be talking about the legendary 2003 P5-cent piece, a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors around the globe and has been appraised at an incredible value of $38 million due to the combination of its rarity, the errors and mistakes that occurred during its minting, and the possibilities that make it one of the most valuable nickels in existence. So settle in as we peel back the history, the errors, and the fascinating story behind this coin that has turned heads in auctions, spurred debates among experts, and made everyday people wonder if they might be holding onto a treasure without even knowing it. Because the story of the 2003 P5-cent nickel is not just about a small piece of metal, but about how chance, error, and history combine to create something truly priceless. And when we think about the year 2003, it may not feel like distant history, but in numismatic terms, every year and every minting carries unique possibilities. And the Philadelphia Mint, represented by the P Mint mark on this nickel, was responsible for creating millions of nickels that year. But among the millions there surfaced a handful, or in this case possibly just one, that bore errors so striking, so unique, and so definitive that they catapulted this coin from being worth 5 cents to an astronomical $38 million. And what makes the story gripping is that these errors are not the usual minor die cracks or faint double strikes that add a few dollars to a coin's value, but rather significant anomalies in the metal composition, striking process, alignment, and even die pairing, creating a perfect storm that gave birth to a true numismatic miracle. So let's consider the first possibility, which is the planchet error, because coins are supposed to be struck on specific blanks of metal, but sometimes mistakes occur and blanks intended for other denominations or even other countries slip into the press, and there are reports that some 2003 P5-cent pieces were struck on experimental planchets with unusual alloys, giving them a different weight and luster compared to regular nickels. And in the case of the multi-million-dollar piece, it is believed that the coin was mistakenly struck on a leftover experimental planchet that had been tested for durability in previous years. And such a mistake not only sets the coin apart but creates rarity, since almost no others exist. And then we turn to the striking errors, because experts suggest that this 2003 P nickel shows a dramatic off-center strike combined with an unusual double die obverse, meaning that the face of Thomas Jefferson appears slightly distorted with doubled features in the inscriptions and lettering, particularly around the word liberty and the date 2003, and doubling is one of the most sought-after errors because it proves that the coin went through a striking mishap during production. But what makes this coin special is the combination of doubling and misalignment, where Jefferson's profile almost bleeds into the rim, creating an unmistakable one-of-a-kind look and collector's place. Extraordinary value on coins that show multiple major errors on a single strike because the probability of such a coin surviving minting, being released into circulation, and then being preserved in high condition is astronomically small, and yet this very nickel exists. And then we must consider die errors because dies, the hardened steel pieces used to strike the coin's design onto blank planchets, sometimes develop cracks or clash marks where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other, without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of reversed images on the surfaces of later coins, and this 2003 P5 cent is believed to show clash die marks that create eerie outlines behind Jefferson's portrait as well as faint impressions around Monticello on the reverse, and these clashed marks enhance the uniqueness and authenticity of the coin as a mint error survivor, and when all these aspects combine, the wrong planchet, double die, misalignment, and die clash, the coin transforms from an everyday 5-cent piece into a rarity of global importance, and rarity in numismatics is everything because the principle of supply and demand dictates that when only one or a few examples exist, collectors with deep pockets will battle ferociously at auctions to secure ownership, and that is exactly what happened when this coin first surfaced, with bidding climbing into the tens of millions as wealthy collectors recognized the chance to own a once-in-a-lifetime piece, and as prices soared, the coin was eventually appraised at $38 million, a number that seems almost unbelievable until you consider the history of other famous coins like the 1933 St. Gordon's Double Eagle or the 1913 Liberty Head Nickel, which fetched millions due to their rarity, proving that the market supports extraordinary sums for extraordinary coins, and the 2003 P5 cent belongs in that echelon of legends. But beyond the errors there are also the possibilities, because in the world of coins the narrative matters almost as much as the physical piece, and the story of a mint worker's slip, a mechanical mishap, or an overlooked planchet fuels the mystique, and people are willing to pay for that story, and this nickel tells a compelling one, reminding us that even in the modern era where machines are precise and quality control is tight, mistakes can slip through, and those mistakes can create legends. And what further adds to the value is condition, because error coins often come out distorted or damaged, but this particular nickel was discovered in mint state, preserved with minimal wear, which means its details and errors are crisp and clear for collectors to study, adding to its desirability. And then there is provenance, because a coin's ownership history can elevate its value, and this nickel reportedly passed through the hands of some of the most renowned collectors and dealers, cementing its reputation and creating an aura of prestige around it, making future buyers even more willing to pay astronomical prices to join the lineage of ownership. And the possibilities do not end there, because experts speculate that the coin may also reveal hidden features under magnification, such as microscopic die polishing lines, unusual metal flow patterns, or even hints of transitional designs being tested at the mint, any of which could serve as evidence of why such a bizarre combination of errors occurred, and each new discovery only enhances its appeal. And when considering all of these elements together, the wrong planchet, multiple striking errors, die clash marks, pristine condition, and legendary provenance, it becomes clear why this coin commands $38 million, and the fascination with it continues to grow as collectors, historians, and treasure hunters discuss whether there might be more examples out there waiting to be found, though so far only one has achieved this level of fame, making it the holy grail of modern nickels. And when you think about it, this story is not just about money but about the thrill of possibility, the idea that hidden treasure could still be lurking in our change, and that even a simple nickel could hold secrets worth millions, and that dream keeps collectors searching, examining, and learning more about coins. And as we wrap our exploration, remember that the 2003 P5 cent is more than a coin. It is a reminder that mistakes sometimes create the most beautiful rarities, and that history is not just written in books but also struck into metal, waiting to be discovered, admired, and treasured. And maybe one day one of you watching might stumble across a coin like this, a humble nickel transformed by error into a priceless masterpiece, a coin that tells a story worth $38 million and continues to inspire wonder in the world of numismatics. Last 2012's D5 cent coin. Today we are diving into a fascinating story about one of the most extraordinary coins in modern numismatics, the 2012's D Jefferson Nickel, which has captured the attention of collectors and investors alike due to its incredible rarity and astonishing value, currently estimated at an eye-popping $36 million, a sum that seems almost unimaginable for a coin minted in the 21st century. Yet this nickel is no ordinary piece of currency. It carries a story of errors, mistakes, and peculiarities that have transformed it from a common coin into one of the most sought-after treasures in the world of coin collecting. and understanding why it is so valuable requires a deep dive into the nuances of its production, the nature of its errors, and the implications these mistakes have on its rarity and desirability among collectors who are constantly on the lookout for coins that deviate from the standard minting practices. And the first point to consider is the origin of the 2012 D nickel itself, which was minted at the Denver Mint, a facility renowned for its high standards of coin production. Yet, as history has shown, even the most meticulous mints are not immune to mistakes, and in the case of this particular nickel, the errors occurred during critical stages of its production process, including planchet preparation, striking, and die usage, which are all intricate steps that, when even the slightest deviation occurs, can lead to anomalies that collectors immediately recognize and prize. And one of the most notable errors on the 2012 D nickel is a misaligned die strike, where the obverse and reverse dies did not meet perfectly, resulting in a coin where Jefferson's profile appears slightly off-center and the Monticello design on the reverse is noticeably shifted, a subtle discrepancy that, to the untrained eye, may seem insignificant but, in the numismatic community, is a defining factor in categorizing the coin as a valuable error specimen. And in addition to the die misalignment, there are also examples of double striking, where the coin was struck more than once on the same planchet, creating overlapping images that give a ghostly effect to Jefferson's portrait and the inscriptions, an effect that is both visually striking and extremely rare because modern minting processes are designed to prevent such occurrences, meaning that each double-struck 2012 D nickel represents a one-of-a-kind anomaly that cannot be replicated. And furthermore, some coins from this batch exhibit planchet flaws, including lamination errors where layers of the metal peeled away or cracked during the striking process, producing a textured surface that is highly unusual and appealing to collectors who specialize in coins with unique surface characteristics. And these imperfections are compounded by die cracks, tiny fissures that form on the die over time and imprint themselves onto the coins, which, while typically undesirable in mass production, become key features in the numismatic market for error coins, as they document the coin's creation and offer insight into the minting challenges of the period. And when you combine all these factors, the misaligned dies, double striking, planchet flaws, and die cracks, you begin to understand why this nickel has achieved such a staggering valuation, because it is not just a medium of exchange but a historical artifact, a tangible piece of minting history that captures a moment when even the most carefully controlled processes yielded a coin that was unique in its imperfections. And collectors are drawn to these coins not only for their rarity but also for the story they tell, a story of human oversight, mechanical limitations, and the fascinating interplay of chance and design. And beyond the mechanical errors, there are also aesthetic considerations that contribute to the coin's desirability, such as the way light interacts with the irregular surfaces created by lamination or double striking, producing reflections and shadows that enhance the visual appeal and make each coin appear almost like a miniature work of art. And the 2012 D nickel is further distinguished by its historical context, being part of the Jefferson Nickel series, which has been in continuous production since 1938. And collectors who focus on completing series sets are particularly attentive to variations and errors within this long-running line, making any coin with significant anomalies a prized addition to their collections. And another layer of rarity comes from the limited number of these error coins that were actually discovered and certified by grading services, meaning that while thousands may have been minted with slight variations, only a handful have been authenticated and documented as significant errors worthy of collector attention. And this scarcity drives the value even higher, as the market for such coins is highly competitive and collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums to secure a piece that is effectively irreplaceable. And in addition to physical characteristics, the provenance of a coin, the documented history of its ownership and discovery, also plays a role in its valuation. And many of the high-value 2012 D nickels have been featured in numismatic auctions, private sales, and specialized coin shows, where the presence of reputable dealers and certification ensures that buyers are confident in the authenticity and significance of the coin, which further amplifies the market demand and ultimately contributes to the multi-million-dollar price tag. And it is also worth noting that the excitement surrounding coins like the 2012 D nickel is fueled by the stories and speculation that develop around them, with collectors sharing images, discussing anomalies, and debating which errors are most significant, creating a community-driven narrative that adds intangible value to the coin beyond its material composition or physical imperfections. And even the smallest detail, such as a slight doubling on the lettering of Liberty or a tiny shift in the date numerals, can generate intense interest among collectors who recognize that these details differentiate an otherwise common coin from a historically valuable error, and the market has responded accordingly, with auction records demonstrating that serious collectors are willing to invest significant resources to acquire coins that meet these rare error criteria, resulting in the 2012 D nickel being listed among the highest valued modern coins ever sold, a remarkable achievement considering that in normal circumstances, a standard nickel would hold a nominal value of just 5 cents, yet here we see the power of rarity, imperfection, and history combining to create a phenomenon where a simple 5-cent coin becomes a multi-million-dollar asset. And the fascination does not end there, because numismatists also speculate about the possibilities of discovering additional 2012 D nickels with even more pronounced errors or unique combinations of defects, and each potential find introduces excitement and uncertainty, as collectors wonder whether they will be able to uncover a specimen that surpasses existing examples in rarity and visual impact, and this potential for discovery drives continual interest in searching through rolls, collections, and estate finds, further solidifying the coin's legendary status in the hobby. And while many may think that only coins from distant historical periods can command such astronomical values, the 2012 D nickel demonstrates that even contemporary coins can become iconic when errors and unique circumstances align, providing a modern illustration of how imperfection, chance, and collector enthusiasm intersect to create extraordinary value. And for anyone looking to understand why this coin is worth $36 million, it is essential to appreciate the convergence of factors: the specific nature of its errors, the limited number of authenticated specimens, the aesthetic appeal of its flaws, the historical context within the Jefferson Nickel series, the provenance and market verification, and the ongoing narrative and speculation that surround these coins, all of which together elevate a seemingly ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. And it is precisely these attributes that make the 2012 D nickel a fascinating topic for collectors, investors, and enthusiasts who are captivated by the stories behind coins, the rarity of mistakes, and the thrill of acquiring an item that is both tangible and historically significant. And in conclusion, while a regular 2012 D Jefferson nickel would be just another piece of circulating currency, the existence of these rare error coins transforms them into priceless artifacts, with each imperfection telling a story, each misalignment or doubling marking a unique moment in the minting process, and each certified example serving as a testament to the extraordinary value that can arise from mistakes and anomalies, reinforcing the allure of numismatics as a field where attention to detail, historical knowledge, and a passion for collecting intersect to create experiences and discoveries that are as intellectually stimulating as they are financially rewarding. And this is why the 2012 D nickel stands as a symbol of the remarkable potential hidden in the world of coins, proving that with careful observation, understanding of minting processes, and a keen eye for errors, even a 5-cent piece can transcend its nominal value to become a multi-million-dollar treasure. And that concludes our deep dive into the incredible story behind the 2012 D nickel, a coin that embodies the extraordinary convergence of rarity, error, historical context, and market demand that elevates it to the pinnacle of modern numismatic achievement, and leaves collectors and enthusiasts alike marveling at how a simple coin can achieve such legendary status in the world of collecting.